coming. But to start, you're going to need the new launcher. Now you can go to Mojang.com, or I've got a link in the description. I'll put a direct link to the post to download the launcher, and you can get that. You need the new launcher to play 1.6. You can't play without it. And from there, you can also play 1.5.2, 1.51. You can play older versions of the game from that launcher, so you don't need the old one anymore, really. And you can set up a profile, even add how many gigs of RAM you're going to use when you're playing to have Minecraft run a little better, stuff like that. And you can play snapshots right through there too, so you can check out the snapshots even more easily than you could before. Now when you get into 1.6, you're going to want a horse, of course. So head on over to the plains biomes, because this is where these guys spawn. Now I just found this plains biome right near, this is the 161 seed, and there's a plain not too far from spawn, and I found these little pods of horses. Now horses come in a lot of different colors. There's 35 different ones, not counting the special ones that aren't in the game yet, like the skeletal or zombie horse. Now, if you want to find them, they're going to spawn in groups of similar color, but they can have different patterns, and there are 5 different patterns that they can have on their coats with 7 different coats. So if you look around, you'll find the horse that you want eventually, but there are a ton of different ones. And you can find donkeys too and make mules by breeding them with horses. Now if you want a horse, the first step is to walk up and right click on the horse, and it will start to move around, and it will most likely throw you off as it gallops around here. Once it gets pissed off enough, this one will throw me off too. It seems to be liking me okay right now, but it's not throwing me off. There we go, now he's pissed. So every time you get on them, you increase your chance of breaking it, and I already broke this one, so it had hearts. That means that this horse now is okay with me jumping on top of him. But if you're gonna ride a horse, you're gonna need a saddle, and saddles can only be found in loot chests, such as in dungeons, villages, nether fortresses now in 1.6, that type of stuff. You're gonna need to get a saddle, and most of you, if you're playing an older world, you probably already have a saddle. So to get that on the horse, you're going to need to right click with the saddle. It'll open up the horse inventory. If you don't have the saddle in your hand, you can always push E, your inventory, when you're on the horse, and that opens up its inventory, and there's a little spot for the saddle. There's also a spot for horse armor, and here's a handy chart for horse armor. Iron is the weakest, and then it goes gold, diamond, and you can throw that right in the chart. The armor is pretty common in loot chests as well. You can't craft that either, but it's not too hard to get, and it'll provide your horse a little bit of extra protection. If I'm going into survival here, you can see the horse has a certain amount of health. That can be increased by breeding horses together, and the baby will have increased stats such as like speed and jumping from the parents, as well as extra hearts. And if you're going to heal your horse, here's a variety of food that works and a little chart to show you how well it works. Sugar, wheat, apple, golden carrots, bread, golden apples, and hay bales. With hay bales, the new item crafted with 9 wheat, sorry. That is the best way to heal it. Ooh, there's some white horses over here. Now, supposedly, and some black ones. White and black horses are supposed to be some of the fastest, so you might want to look for those. That's just a rumor, at least, but I'm not sure if it's true or not. We'll find out. And there's some donkeys. A lot of horses here on the plains. Now, if you were to find a baby horse and you want to ride that, you have to feed it any of these food to the side here on the chart, and it will increase the taming probability as it grows. And there's also a note with how fast it speeds up their growth by. So golden apples do the most and add the most taming probability chance, but they are kind of expensive to use. So you might want to use like hay bales or sugar, stuff that's cheap like that, and throw that on there and get your baby horse if that's what you want. Makes it a little easier to tame, but you don't need to do that necessarily. And leads, I wandered away from my crafting recipe, but leads are used to grab any animal, even wild horses. The horse doesn't have to be tamed to use the lead, and if you want to use that, you can walk up to a horse or any other animal and right click them with the lead. They'll be attached to you, and you can attach them to a fence post to keep them still. Here is the recipe for the lead to craft it. It's a slime ball and 4 string, and if I was to walk up to this wild baby horse, I can just throw the little foal, I can throw the lead around it, and it will follow me. The lead is pretty strong and will pull most things. If you are riding another horse, you have to be careful because it will break, but I can pull this little baby horse with me, and if there was a fence post here, like I can go in here and throw one down. You can right click on it to attach the lead with your bare hand. Bam, there we go. Now this horse is stuck there, and you can do multiple leads at once. But anyways, that is pretty much the basics to find a horse, grab it, saddle it, and ride it. So like I said, I'm gonna have a full rundown guide pretty soon here of all the 1.6 features. This is a pretty good jumper. Oh, if you want to jump on the horse, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. You want to hold down the shift bar until it gets into the orange. There is a perfect jump right there, and you got to time it right to do a good jump. If you do less, the horse won't jump as far or as high. So you want to try to time it perfectly because it goes up and then it'll go back down again. So see, it's a little tough to time, but you'll get used to it riding around. And if you want to get off your horse, the sneak key is the default, which is the left shift. So bam, came off my horse there. And you can't just right click to get off. That's probably going to frustrate most people, but that's how you do it. That way you can still use items like bows and arrow while you're on your horse, and you can guard with your sword when you're on your horse. All that stuff is enabled because you can right click. So I can get on him and I can still aim my bow and shoot because I can right click. So I think that's a change for the better. So yeah, just hit shift to get off of there. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, I'll have that quick guide soon. Go download the 1.6.1 launcher, and I'll see you next time.